Rachel, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I am really well. I'm surprised to see you here. You back in the UK?
I have been back for about a year now, year and a half. Yeah, a little while.
So what have you been up to?
What have I been up to? I've been working. I'm getting myself resettled in the UK with my little girl. So that's been taking up a lot of time. But modeling's going good again, so I'm really happy.
Oh, you've got a little girl.
I do. She's 3 now. She tells me she's a big girl, but but yeah, she's still little to me.
Oh, fabulous. So you're here at Miss Runway show. Are you a friend of Miss Runway?
I'm not actually, but she invited me and I thought I'd come and support the cause. So
fantastic. Lovely to have you here in South London. Now, I just wanted to ask you, like, for any young women who are watching, obviously, how long have you spent in the model industry?
Properly maybe 12 years, 13 years. Yeah, so a long time.
So do you find it a pressurized industry for young women?
I can't speak for everybody, but for me, there's always a lot of pressure on weight and staying slim and making sure you fit in the clothes. And that was a big issue for me because I'm not naturally skinny. You know, I might naturally have a little bit of curvage here and there. But now that I'm older and I've been doing it for a little while, I now see what I got from it more than the things that I had to sacrifice. You know, I got to travel the world. I had a really wonderful time and I took what I love from it. I've made some wonderful friends. But when I was younger, it was definitely very difficult because you constantly feel a pressure, you constantly feel a competition, which I don't always need to have a competition element. I quite like just hanging out with a bunch of girls, but going to castings and always having to, you know that, wow, it's between you and me. And, you know, that I don't like as much, you know, but what I do love about it, the creative aspects, has been amazing.
Of course. Now, obviously, I'm National Ambassador for Domestic Violence UK, and when you was out in the US, was there any campaigns or anything going on out there around domestic violence?
I'm actually from South America, Suriname, not the US. In my country, it is something that is being highlighted more and more now. I think the more times progress, people are not as scared to speak up on how they feel and what happens in their life, the things that I think maybe back in the day, whenever that was, people would be a lot more ashamed to admit certain things. So yeah, there could definitely be more light shine up on that. And abuse in general, you know, like people really underestimate how even bullying and things can affect you long term throughout life, you know, because I suffered from bullying and stuff when I was younger. So I definitely think that it's amazing what you're doing and drawing more attention on the topic. So well done to you for that.
And thank you for drawing attention to bullying, because again, it's not something that everyone always talks about, bullying.
No, I mean, like I was actually speaking to a friend last night, thinking how people say things when you're little and they don't think anything of it, you know, it's just something to say and not really a big deal. A comment about, I remember in my specific case, you know, something about my weight, or, you know, as a teen, bad skin issues, things like that, and how now 20 years later, you know, not that old, maybe 15 to 18, 10 years later, okay, 10 years later, you know, like 10 years later, you know, it still affects me, you know, like things that people say, and I don't really realize how much impact words can have.
Most definitely. I think when people look at abuse, they look at the other side of abuse and not the wording and the mental side of it.
I think that's the worst, because I think when you have a bruise to look at, you know one day that bruise is going to go and you'll heal and whatever. But when it's emotional, for me at least, me personally, like the emotional aspect of it is far worse, because that takes years to deal with, and you know, some people can't do it on their own. Some people need help, and I have a blog even where I talk a lot about, you know, my own personal experiences, everything in life, and I'm really open with what I go through in my own life, or what I have gone through, and I love that I'm getting so much response from especially young women who are going through things that they feel like they can discuss with people, but they feel like they've connected with me through my blog, you know, through me putting out stuff that you wouldn't expect me to have gone through.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about your blog.
My blog is called Once Upon a Sexy Time, .wordpress.com, or it's on my website as well, rachelritfeld.com, and I talk very openly about my life and the things that I've been through, and different topics of that have impacted me in my life. I mean, I talk very openly about my divorce and how I dealt with that with my daughter, and you know, also dating, how I found dating this time around after having been married for a while, you know, for 5-6 years. you know. So there's loads of different decisions that I made as a young child, you know, things that affected me growing up young, when I was younger, from, you know, like I said, certain bits of bullying and how it affected me, and it took me all these years to realize the impact that had on me, and how it affected me, and how certain things still affect me, you know, even from a relationship with my dad and, you know, my mom, and, you know, how it took me so long to realize, you know.
And I think we always need to be honest and mindful, because once upon a time, I think a lot of people would say, oh, I'm so ashamed to talk about certain aspects of my life. But actually right now, those certain aspects of our life will go on to inspire somebody else's life.
That's exactly why I do it, you know, because one, it's a therapy for me. I get to express how I feel and really order my thoughts with it. And I see from the response I get, you know, I've had like tens of thousands of people reading my blog with no advertising whatsoever. I only started this like 3 months ago, and people send me really, really personal messages and feedback and tell me their stories, and that just really fuels me to want to do better and be better, and, you know, play an active part in helping wherever.
That's fantastic. I'm so glad I actually caught up with you, and as we say, it's so good to talk.
Thank you so much. I definitely think it's good to talk, definitely.
Lovely.